Are UCLA's attendance woes on Chip Kelly? The Rams' open defense of their Super Bowl title and faceplant in front of everybody. And the Dodgers have questions for the playoffs. Not just on the pitching staff, on the lineup. Hi there, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is faithful Angelenos. I'm in a great mood. I got paid, saw that direct deposit just drop in. You know you're going to get some food and rent taken care of. I got no problems. I want to thank the new subscriber who joined us on September 9th, 2022. I appreciate every last one of you. And if you like the content we put out, click and clack the like button. Click and clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. The comments I've been getting lately, they have been catching my interest. Some really good stuff going on there. Before we go through the news and notes, take a look at the scoreboard. We posted a rapid recap of last night's Rams season opener. And we'll talk a little more about it in a moment, but just know this. They stunk up the joint, particularly in the second half. Cooper Kupp scored the only touchdown for the Rams, who lost to Buffalo 31-10. If you want to see the rapid recap, look at the Rams playlist on this channel. Meanwhile, tonight, the Dodgers will play at San Diego at 6:40. Dustin May, he's 1-2 versus Mike Clevenger, 5-6. The Dodgers' magic number is 6. And that means if they sweep the weekend in San Diego, they are going to party right in the middle of Petco Park, and I am all in favor of it. I want to start off, though, talking about UCLA football. Because for a variety of reasons. One, I posted a preview of the upcoming UCLA game. Look at the UCLA playlist if you want to see it. But the LA Times circled back and wondered what led to that craptacular attendance versus Bowling Green. Eventually what the writer did was he made the insinuation that it's partially on Chip Kelly, the coach. And on some level, I think it's fair to say it's partially on Chip Kelly. After all, there were former season ticket holders who were quoted in the article. One said that when UCLA football holds events for season ticket holders, for boosters, the coaches may show up for like 10 minutes and then duck out the back door. Like they want nothing to do with the ruffians who pay the tickets and buy the merch. There's no fight song, the band isn't there, the H-clap thing doesn't happen. These are things that matter to fans. You know, and over the course of 5 years, you can see why there'd be a waning interest in UCLA. The idea is that if UCLA were just a bunch of world beaters, then maybe you could get away with being a little snobby. You know, you take a look at Nick Saban over in Alabama. You're expected to reach the playoffs in Alabama. You're expected to compete for the national title. And maybe if you do that, you can avoid shaking hands. In this case, though, Chip Kelly is not coaching in the SEC, where he's got a legion of slobbering hillbillies who will just worship anything he does. He's in the Pac-12, where there's basically, you're in an area where people are fighting for your attention. You have to schmooze. You have to make friends in a show business town. And Lincoln Riley over at USC knows this, I might add. He's been glad-handing a lot of people out in SC. But here's the thing. I think that's a big chunk of the reason, but I want to give you another. I believe that skipping the Holiday Bowl was disastrous for the Bruins program. I really do. Now, if you remember, they were bowl eligible last year. They drive down to San Diego. The fans come down to San Diego. They're working out. They're going to SeaWorld. They're doing all the things that they're supposed to do. And then they pull out of the game 2 hours before kickoff. Why would fans support that? Especially in football. Look, the last memory that UCLA football fans had is not the Bruins beating the hell out of USC, but of chickening out of a game. When the fans had the courage to pay for the tickets and show up in the stadium, and whatever, if a player or two had to sit out because of COVID, so be it. But I think a lot of fans said, I just dropped hundreds and thousands of dollars on a football team that didn't have the courage to show up. I think that matters. That's the lasting impression. I wouldn't show up either. You tell me though what you think. I'd appreciate reading your comments about that. Also, as a side note, I mentioned that there is a preview of UCLA's upcoming game on the playlist. If you are a USC fan, I will be posting a preview of your game against Stanford later today. Okay? So, last night, a lot of good things happened for the Rams until they hit the field. For example, they officially signed Coach Sean McVay to their extension, and for good measure, added GM Les Snead. Terms of the deals weren't announced in terms of the money, but the deals are valid through 2026. And here was something very cute that started for the Rams yesterday. The LA Times reported that yesterday that Les Snead, he just couldn't believe it. He got a text from Bobby Wagner, and he just about how Bobby Wagner wanted to play for LA, and he thought, this can't be real. A guy that good just doesn't text me out of the blue about playing in LA. Is it real? Well, there's a reason I didn't tell you about that story in yesterday's clip. Because that was a cute story. And I'm not cute. And by the way, I didn't feel particularly cute after watching last night's game either. So let's talk for a moment about last night's game. Again, I mentioned a lot in the rapid recap, but I had a chance to get a few hours after it. A viewer wrote, back to the drawing board for the Rams, which is snarky, but it's accurate. And I actually think that's what exactly the Rams are going to do. See, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to choose not to overreact. The Rams and the Bills were both uneven in the first half. Neither one of them were firing on all cylinders. There were a bunch of turnovers. The Rams couldn't establish a running game. That's why it was tied 10-10 at halftime. Now, the thing with Sean McVay is he's only lost once when he has the lead at halftime. If you're going to beat Sean McVay, you better at least have a tie or be ahead at halftime. Because its halftime adjustments are about maintaining the lead. He doesn't rally that often. So the Rams looked like garbage in the second half. This was a Rams team that looked every bit like they hadn't played a football game since February. Disjointed, sloppy. And I think it's something that can be relatively easily resolved before their next game against the Atlanta Falcons. So they will go back to the drawing board. But if they lose to Atlanta, you have my permission to smash the panic button. You have my permission to poop as many bricks as you want. But I'm not doing it just yet. Just saying. For the Dodgers, Tony Gonsolin's recovery is being slowed by, quote, residual soreness. What? I mean, I will say this, at least it's not general soreness. And if you were a fan of the Dodgers back in the 1980s, you know what I mean by missing games due to general soreness. Mike Marshall, too afraid to play in San Francisco. I get it. Ouch, I can't play. I've got general soreness. Don't even get me started on that. The Dodgers are likely to skip, by the way, in a few weeks, this revamped wild card round because their record is so good. It means that the hunt for a title will pick up probably on October 11th with a home game. Now, the Times' Dylan Hernandez projects Julio Urias to start and also Clayton Kershaw. After that, he basically suggests that we can all blame Dave Roberts if something goes wrong. Thanks for telling us something we already know, D. Gotcha. But the more intriguing question to me, honestly, doesn't have anything to do with the rotation at all. The Dodgers lead Major League Baseball in ERA. They do a lot of things right pitching. It's just a matter of whether or not Roberts pushes the right buttons. The more intriguing questions to me are in the lineup. What do you do with Chris Taylor and Cody Bellinger? See, Taylor, he comes off the injured list about a month or so ago, but he's already had 12 games where he struck out more than once. So he's not even making contact. And then you're talking about Cody Bellinger, who's been slumping for years now. Complete mess his swing is. Now, Robert said he would be okay if Taylor or Bellinger, if they were missing pitches, but if at least when they made contact, it was solid contact. But that's not happening either. So could they be benched? Actually, yeah, they could. You've seen some of the Dodgers minor leaguers that have been coming up. It's entirely possible Cody Bellinger, a former MVP, could get benched. And same for Mr. Do Everything, Chris Taylor. It's a tough business, but hey, a ring is a ring. The NFL Network's Ian Rappaport has tweeted that Chargers cornerback C.J. Jackson should be available soon, but week 1 against the Raiders is not realistic. Now, if that's the case, that's going to leave Michael Davis, Asante Samuel, and Bryce Callahan to suit up as the starting cornerbacks against Las Vegas. And I'm having a very big feeling that Devontae Adams is pretty happy about that. You know how hard it is to find good week 1 info in the NFL? Because all the teams are made out and everybody's figuring out depth charts and crap like that. You can't really find anything breaking a lot. I've just read a long-ass story about how Justin Herbert has been working on how to draw offenses offside. That's how hard it is to find anything compelling. And believe me, snap counts are not compelling reading. I mean, I don't have any time. I don't have so much time left in my life to where I think a sports journalist needs to burden my time with the difference between hut and hut. Why would you write that? Why? Former Laker Lonzo Ball only played a half of the season with LeBron James in LA. He said, quote, "Being able to share the court and learn from him was a time in my life I'll never get back. I'll never take it for granted." Dude, you've taken your entire career for granted. Can we just cut to the chase? What have you accomplished other than collect fat checks and get injured? You were supposed to be the next Jason Kidd. Magic Johnson thought your jersey was going up into the rafters at Staples Center, and all you are basically getting cash and checks, which I would assume your father is probably trying to grift away from you when he has a chance. That's something you can't take for granted. Your time with LeBron James, I think you took it for granted. Say a lot of things about LeBron James, but at least that guy does not just cash checks without giving a full effort. Now, if you enjoyed this clip, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are talking LA sports each and every day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. I'll be back later today with a preview of USC versus Stanford. Faithful Angelenos is a Corte El Queso production. Take care.